He's got to keep
good, man. It's getting bigger and smarter every day. You know, just he's about to go into his like next sleep, so that means less sleep for us in the future.
Time to start baby-proofing the house.
I mean, I've been looking around. I'm like, that's a hazard. That's a hazard. That's a hazard.
You know those big air bubbles? Get those and just tape them to everything.
Yeah.
It's crazy the lag in our chat. I'm always looking at it like, what in the world?
It happens.
Back and forth. Heidi, thanks for coming in. Joe, appreciate you being here. Howdy, Mr. Cole.
Hey, What's up, Clayton?
Y'all in before bed. That's funny. That's funny. Yeah, Colton will be going to sleep here in about 30 minutes.
Nah, I'm going to send Colton some Windex. Hang on.
Yeah, there you go. Calvin, thanks for coming in. Miss Jennifer, hope you had a great birthday yesterday.
Yeah.
Oh, happy birthday, Jen. I didn't know it was your birthday.
Yeah.
So if you get a cake in your front yard, you know who's in it. Oh, girl.
There you go.
It's Calvin. He's going to be dancing out of it.
Yep.
Yeah. Jeff, thanks for having me on the show, bro. Appreciate you being here. Hemlock Lady Mercantile. Thank you guys for coming in.
Buddy.
Jennifer, always on point. Thanks for the link drop there.
Beat me to it.
You got to be quick.
She's only like 3 hours away from me. Man, if the commute was less, I would offer her like whatever it took to hire her.
Yeah, dude.
Turned 50. You don't turn 50 for another 22 years, Jen.
Man. Storage Scavenger. Thanks for being here, Ryan.
Oh, there's Harry Humstone. Harry.
Eric Bischoff. Thanks for coming in.
Hey, Jeff.
Fellow Eric. There you go. You guys get so far ahead in the chat, man. I'm looking like I'm way behind.
And that's because Brian probably has YouTube open like I do.
Yeah. Yeah, same. Like I try to click
on StreamYard,
but I get lost.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I didn't open my YouTube. It gets too confusing because I get a lot of messages.
Yeah.
Of like notifications from other channels while I'm watching YouTube. So.
I get that same thing. Miss Annie, thanks for coming in. Harry. Brian buys a lot.
He most certainly does. Dude, as I'm like talking to Brian, and I'm sure like we're gonna get a chance to hear from Brian in just a second here, like introducing himself, but like just a taste, like as I'm talking to him, every time I'm talking to him, he's buying a lot. Like the first time I ever like met him, hey, I'm like loading up a 17-foot load truck while I'm on vacation. I'm like, what? My wife would murder me.
Right.
Granted, I don't have a big warehouse. This time, I'm like, hey man, you want to come on the show? It's like, sorry, dude. I'm so like I'm bad about getting back to you because like I'm like, you know, trying to like make this like $16,000 like audio file deal.
Oh, the deal I sent you pictures of.
Yeah. I'm like, no big deal. So just so you guys get a kind of taste, you know, like when we're like talking about, you know, a couple $100 deals, he's like thousands.
Yeah.
It's not always better though. It is not.
Yeah.
It's a lot to process, I'm sure.
It is. The profit margins versus the stress are the same. We're actually going to start backscaling soon, I think.
Really?
Just so that I can, you know, semi-retire, get some fishing in.
There you go.
Dude, you earned it, man.
So. D, thanks for dropping in. Frank, thank you guys for being here. Well, we're going to go ahead and get started. We're about 5 minutes in, so we obviously do have Brian, Mr. Buysalot, on with us tonight. And Brian, obviously, we appreciate you coming on. You know, as always, my fabulous co-host who keeps everything straight for me on the chat and the technical side of things, Sam.
Vogue for it, Sam.
So, man, always a good thing. Thank Marcus for dropping in. Just saw him pop up.
Oh, hey, Marcus.
We're gonna obviously tonight, you know, same as our always thing, guys. When we do these things, we try to glean as much as we can from our guests. We try to learn and provide you guys with as much value as possible. that we can dig out of the people we have in. And so tonight, I know Sam has had the opportunity to meet Brian in person and hang out with him for the day. And, he called me afterwards and we were talking about, he's like, dude, I'm just sitting there like drinking from the fire hose, like just getting so much knowledge for down the road. So we were anxious to get him on the show. And so, Brian, we're going to turn things over to you, let you introduce yourself and tell you a little bit about you and what you got going on. And then we'll dive into some questions. If you have questions for him or any of us, if you'll drop them in caps in the chat, we'll get to them. If not, Sam will get it pulled up for us, and we'll get it to it as soon as we can.
Okay.
Brian?
So I'm Brian Davis, obviously, Mr. Buysalot. If you guys don't know who I am, another YouTube content creator, kind of like these two wonderful guys up here. And we do eBay, Amazon. I've recently got into Poshmark. We do Facebook Live auctions. My father was an auctioneer. My mom deals in textiles. My dad does. We used to have a furniture store, traveled all the flea markets, been doing eBay since before it was eBay. I have a team that is wonderful. Like everybody's like, oh, you have 150,000 listings on eBay. How? I have a great team. I've always had somebody, after I started to build the company, I started putting people in place. If not for my team, there would be no Mr. Buysalot. So I give credit where credit's due. They get Christmas bonuses, wine allowances, whatever they want while they're here. But pretty much this is my full-time gig. This is what I do all the time, buy, sell, trade. Do a lot of ephemera and paper goods and toys and sports cards is kind of where I started. And so we do kind of everything kid related and then paper goods, but I'm not afraid to buy anything, I guess. If I can lift it myself, I'm interested.
Yeah.
And I'm insane. So it all works.
You definitely take chances. That's for sure.
You got to gamble a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is one of those things, man. When I first saw you in a chat, I was like, Mr. Buysalot. I was like, really? I said, what's going on with that? And then I went and checked it out. And I was like, yeah, he ain't lying. Like, I think the first video I saw with you was a lot of Josh when he went there and was going through your stuff. And I was like, who is this guy? Like, what's going on? Like,
I miss Josh a lot.
Yeah.
He's a great guy.
Yeah, I saw him all cleaned up, man, with the job.
I know. He works for Amazon.
Yeah. He's getting the behind the scenes before he goes back into reselling, right?
I wish he was my liaison. If maybe he could, give me a better deal because Amazon wants to sell me tractor trailer loads of merchandise.
Oh.
But I have to sign like a multi-million-dollar contract, and I'm not about to fail on a contract with somebody that has that kind of money. No way.
Yeah.
Nah.
I have enough stress now. No, thank you. I'd love to buy it though.
Yeah. Doing some on that scale, I mean, you'd have to have a massive network of people just buying it right back off of you.
Yeah. We looked at a building in South Carolina that's 72,000 square feet.
Jeez.
And it was cheap. Like it's on 80 acres. It's fenced in. It's got its own 4-acre paved area. I was like, if I had that building, I might consider it. But we don't have anything close to that. You only live once.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And when you die, the death goes with you, so it's fine.
Yeah. Or at least you can kind of I know you started talking about, winding down a little bit more and retiring. Kind of so what is that vision for you?
So for me, without going too far into numbers, let's say that my monthly expenses between my employees, my eBay, and my rents is $20,000 to $22,000 a month. My income might be $27,000 to $30,000. If I scaled back, my outlay could be $4,000 or $5,000, and my income could be $15,000 to $20,000. I'm still making the same profit margin without working 16-hour days. I could do it working 3-hour days or 4-hour days, 5 days a week, and then I could enjoy, going fishing and doing other things. I mean, I'll still have a ton of merchandise. I'd like to go a lot more wholesale. and just sell loads of stuff to people. But I'm real cautious and business minded about it. I'm sure you saw, like, I think Sam, you were in the room when Tommy was talking about it. Everybody's like, oh, the tractor trailer load of clothes I bought, designer and vintage, and there's junk in there. Everybody's like, well, why don't you just sell boxes? So I bought 450 boxes. I paid $12,000. I was like, okay, if I sold boxes for $130 shipped, because I figured it's going to cost $30, that turns it into $40,000. Great profit. My concern was people are going to get a box. One person will get a box. It'll be great. I'll actually show you guys in a second a dress that we just found today. But somebody will get a box, it'll be great. Somebody else will get a box and it'll be bad.
Mm.
Which person do you think is going to put out a video? The person who got a bad box is going to be like, and I'm going to be like, look, I didn't even look in them, because I don't want to look in a box and see an $1,800 Hermes jacket and send it to you for $125. I would have to just sell them blind. I wouldn't be looking at them. But if you got a box of T-shirts that are all stained up and trashed, you're going to be mad at me.
Right.
I don't want a bad reputation. So I'm just not, the money's not worth it to me. My reputation means everything.
Yeah. Yep, that's it. When you look at that stuff, I mean, when you're buying stuff, and I'm sure, like, when you're buying big lots like that, you're buying it blind yourself, so you don't know all the detail. Like, you're just picking through it.
I didn't look at anything in that tractor trailer. Now, I'd seen clothes coming from the same source before.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, if you watch other people who have bought clothing, they bought tractor trailers much cheaper from, like, Goodwill and stuff like that. This stuff is out of estates from New York, from better areas. So you assume that, like, hey, it's going to be Louis Vuitton and Gucci and Ralph Lauren. And some of it's not. Some of it's just generic trash.
Yeah. Yeah, there's Walmart wherever you go, right?
That's it. Like, all the Walmart brands, all the Target brands, we're putting those in boxes, and I'm giving those to Pam, my office manager. She throws them on Facebook Marketplace. I think she's putting them out for like $3 a piece, 2 for $5, and I give her 50% because she dealing with the people, whatever. It's her take home extra money, and it's kind of my bonus to her for being a good employee for all the time. Mm-hmm. So maybe she makes an extra $1,000 a month. It's fine by me. It saves me from doing the work.
Have you seen the guys that sell bales of clothing?
Yeah, clothing. Clothing. What are they? What is it called? It's like a mercantile warehouse.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's one in Scranton. I know him. There's also some other people that I know too. There's other people I know that have places that they kind of own their own Goodwill in a way.
Yeah.
I could buy tractor trailer loads of stuff from them, and I know it would be unpicked and unsorted, but the areas it's coming from, I know it's going to be like, it would be good for T-shirts and for maybe vintage Levi's and stuff like that, but it's not ever going to be good for $800 jackets or $1,000 dresses or any of that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, that stuff. I watched early on in my reselling adventure. I watched Rally Roots buy that bale.
The bale?
And it was terrible. Like the guy's like, I literally got like 3 or 4 things to sell out of this whole thing.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, they made their money on YouTube on that one.
But they didn't buy it from a textile like warehouse. They bought it from somebody who supposedly bought it from. Yeah. They're the ones up here. You can actually go to them. Like, if you guys watch Katie, and I think it's Katie and is it Victoria? No, it's Katie and what is Katie's girlfriend's name? I know I'm butchering this, and I'm sorry to them.
I know who you're talking about, though. Yeah,
they're from Vegas. They're fantastic. They have a fantastic channel. Yeah. Katie and Vicky, that's who it is. But like, she goes to one of these kind of houses, and they actually have sorted out like vintage shirts, vintage T-shirts, which is great. And that type of stuff is awesome if you can go there and they say, hey, look, it's $10 for any T-shirt. No problem. You get to look and see what you're buying.
That's what Scooter was asking a question about, like, give me a 5 style store with, like, if you're getting bulk clothing. I don't
You could do that. Like I had a friend who had a place here in Allentown, and he had a furniture store. And I said, look, you're in a rougher area of Allentown. If you just went to yard sales, my theory on this is quantity over quality in a way.
Mm-hmm.
If you just went to yard sales and you bought every bit of the baby clothes, every bit of the leftover clothing in the afternoon, all of the pots and pans, everything that you could buy for 50 cents a piece, literally that wasn't ripped or damaged, and you put it in a store and said everything is $3 each, 2 for $5, your store would be so packed in the area that he lived in and that his store was in, you wouldn't be able to walk in those places.
Yeah.
You'd have $20,000 days. But
nuts.
I can preach that all I want, but I've never had a open retail store. I've had booths in antique malls and stuff like that, but never had my own brick and mortar retail location other than eBay, Amazon, warehouses.
Yeah, I owned a Subway for a few years. So I've done restaurant retail, but and I've worked in retail in the past. I was like, the biggest thing you run into with that kind of stuff is employees.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't want to sit in a place selling clothing like that all day myself, but when you have employees, you might end up there one day, or more times than not. Like if you're got a high turnover, so brick and mortar for me, I mean, yeah, it'd be great to have, but more overhead, more more stuff to deal with.
The only reason I'd ever want a brick and mortar is to buy from.
Yeah,
my friends have a comic shop up the road. People bring them in stuff, and they know as soon as it comes in the door, those people brought it to them. They don't want to take it home. Yeah. So they're offering 20 cents on the dollar, and people are like, oh, you're the best, here. I'm like, wow.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like what Pete does, right? Craigslist Hunter.
Yep.
He's kind of got the same the buy, sell, and trade shop. Like, dude, I've watched him do trades, which work out awesome for him because he's buying an item he knows he can flip for big money and trade for something he probably don't even have much in. That's great.
Yeah. But that guy has so much knowledge that it is incredible. It is so refreshing to see somebody on YouTube that has real life experience and knows what they're talking about, and brings it to the masses. And he has that air about him that hey, I'm going to tell you my opinion and how from my experience, here it is. If you don't like it, that's on you. It's life. Which is amazing and great. There's no made for TV stuff, and some YouTube channels are made for TV and some aren't. And unfortunately, I'm never going to be the made for TV guy because I'm horrible with the computer graphics and stuff like that. I learned how to sew videos together recently and add words. I think I can add words now to my videos.
Hey,
a little bit at a time, man.
That's there have been at least one YouTube channel I know of just from their YouTube, and they don't do anything fancy, maybe cut a little bit, and just from them unboxing pallets, they picked up a TV gig.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I have emails. I think I actually showed you, Sam, when I was out there. I have emails from American Pickers who are like, "Oh, we want to come to your warehouse."
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, we'll set up an appointment. And they're like, "Oh, we'll send somebody out to scout your warehouse to see if the lighting's good, set up the videos and stuff like that." I'm like, "That's fantastic. You're welcome to come out. I have no problem. Look, I'll sell stuff to anybody."
Yeah.
That's what we do. But this is the second time that they've set up appointments with me and just not shown up.
Weird.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I'm done with it.
I mean, and I do hear stories that those guys are, a lot less organized than they appear.
Well, it's not Mike and Frank. I know of them and friends of mine know them personally. It's not those guys. It's the producer end.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, we have. I was thinking what you had said about Pete in the past about the knowledge. I was just on Jeff's show just actually earlier today, and we were talking about, for me as a beginner reseller, when I got into it, the thrift store is like school, right? You go in, you scan as much as you can, you try to put it in your brain. But you think so? Pete has stuff coming in constantly. He's looking that stuff up. I mean, you see it in his video. He's on eBay looking like this is worth that much. So you think like if you're going to school each and every day and you got oddball items coming every day, pretty soon your knowledge just gets so big, dude, that I'm sure he can walk in and be like, hey, this is that, this is worth this much, this is worth that much. He's one of those guys when he says bolo, like because I watch eBay a lot of I watch YouTube a lot of times and I'm just like doing other things, listing, doing whatever. When I hear Pete say, hey, this is a bolo, I'm like, hold up, so what was that? Like I want to go like it's one of those things. So
yeah, he's a good guy. And it is there's so many things that the internet has, like obviously I'm old, you guys are all young guys. And I did this before the internet was even a thing. Like internet was dial-up. You went to news groups to buy stuff.
Yeah.
And I was raised in this business, so me going to an auction and seeing 40 people walking around a table with their phone looking everything up, I just go home. I'm just like, it's not even worth it for me to stay there because they found that one person that sold an item for $180 and they go, oh, that item's worth $180. They don't even scroll down any further to see that it's like averagely selling at $60. Right. And you're like, how can you pay $120 plus juice and think you're going to make any money on that item that sells for $60 or $80?
No.
And I'm like, they'll be out of the business soon enough, and then I can come back to auctions.
Yeah, that's it, man.
Look, T, right there. We got.
Yeah,
there he is.
T's here. Auctions for you on YouTube.
Boom.
That's
Brian. I'm actually 46, bro. So I'm a little bit older than what people think I am. I remember AOL.
Yeah, like that noise.
I remember looking up comic books and cards in a manual. Like you go and you pull out the Beckett's.
The Beckett CCP was before Beckett, like the little paper.
Yeah.
But news groups used to hit a button and it would be like you'd sit there for 15 or 20 minutes hoping to see one picture load. Like,
oh man, the dark ages.
It is crazy.
Sam's like, what's that?
No, man. I mean, I was like pre-teen. I was like 12, 13 when I first got AOL, and listened to the internet cry.
Yeah.
When you dialed up.
Yeah, you hear that thing.
You've got mail. You've got mail.
Right.
Oh yeah, man. And it would take like a whole day to like pirate a song off of Napster. Yeah. So you'd be stoked when you got home and you got like that one song that you were looking forward to.
And you're putting it on like the first burn CD.
Yeah.
You give it to the girl and she's like, oh my gosh, this guy's got, he's rich. Made me a CD.
Yeah. Gone was the mixtape. Yeah, that is crazy.
So to the chat and to everybody, anybody who has any questions, I have nothing to hide. You guys are welcome to ask anything you want. We're an open book. I am completely upfront and try to keep everything PC. We'll try to stay PC and
there you go.
Kid friendly.
So Brian, like some of the stuff I had for you was, at what point did you transition into like bigger buys? I mean, have you always like went to like when are you like to the you need employees and that kind of stuff, I guess is what I'm saying. What's that transition look like for you?
So if you ever talk to my parents, and my parents will be on my channel, especially when we move, my mom will tell you we used to do Canton, Texas. And there was a little creek that runs through Canton, Texas and Hillsville, Virginia. And when I was maybe 5 or 6, my parents would give me a card table. And I would go down in the creek and I'd pick up fossils. There was fossils in the creek. And I'd put them on the table and I would make like $100 or $200 at 5 or 6 years old playing in the creek. I was catching crayfish and pulling these fossils up and just setting them on the table. And my parents looked at me like, these people have to realize he's just going down in the creek and he's pulling up fossils and selling them for $5 and $10. And at that point, like it was all small. And then there's an auction near us that's called Perkiomenville. And it used to be a good like flea market / 7, 8 auctioneers going at once. I used to buy the entire tables. It would be like does anybody want anything on this table? It's looking for $1, looking for 50 cents. And I'll never forget, there was an auctioneer named Dickie, and he had a like hair lip, and little old guy, but wonderful. And he was like, I got one, any man give me a quarter. And after about 30 seconds, he's like, okay, a whole table. Me, I'd be like 50 cents sold. I get the whole table. So I'd be bringing all this stuff up to my parents' booth because they were set up outside, and they'd be making rows of the junk I was down there buying for 50 cents. And I'd be coming up, and they'd be handing me $20, $40. I'd be going back down there and buying more stuff. And then we'd just throw away a bunch of it. And so from there, it was like I wanted to buy whole rows, or I wanted to buy out stores, or I wanted to buy out other dealers. And there's so much inventory out there, and there's so many ways to get it, that if you're personable and you're honest and you're willing to understand that at the end of the day, if Sam bought a storage unit for $10 and he called me up and he said, hey, I bought a storage unit and I want $20,000 for it. I hear this from people all the time. Oh, that's horrible. He got it for $10 and he's your friend and he's this guy and he's going to charge you 20 grand. Look, if I'm going to get 100 grand for that storage unit, here's your $20,000. Why does it matter what you made? I'm happy that you thought of me enough to call.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, that was like one of the stories that Brian had shared with me in the YouTube video that I dropped, and it was like, this guy who was basically trying to haggle for a Route 66 sign, and you just and you didn't you really didn't you weren't going back and forth on it. You're like, paid him what he wanted, and you ended up $30,000 up on it.
Yeah, I sold it for 13 grand. I paid $20. Why should I haggle with somebody on a $20 item? When I bought it, I thought I was going to get $100.
Yeah,
I had no clue. I knew it was at least $100. So I don't need to buy it at 15 when I'm going to get 100. Give the guy his $20, walk away, save 2 minutes of back and forth. You might find another item in that 2 minutes.
Yep, that's it.
So D has a question. What type of items always gets your attention? I like quantity. So I'm that crazy guy that probably, if somebody showed up to my house with old pennies and was like, hey, I've got 5 old pennies, I'd be like, oh, that's nice. You got 5 cents. Somebody showed up at my house with a pickup truck full of pennies, I might be interested at more than a penny. I don't know.
Dude,
in my head, I'd be like, maybe there's a rare one in there.
Yeah. Leroy wanted to introduce himself too. He said he's never met you before, but hey, his name's Leroy.
Oh, hi, Leroy.
So, see Nikki T pop. Obviously, I saw Tommy pop in earlier as well. And one of the things I was going to tell you is, dude, I've kind of caught the bug for the buying more. I've actually had like 3 big buys recently. Big buys for me, like I just bought 80 boxes of marine boat parts. A lot of them sealed in the pack, like probably 90% of them.
Sweet.
And I was like,
oh, he's froze.
That's kind of what I did. Did it catch back up?
Yep.
Yeah, our internet's terrible out here in the summer. Like, too many people on.
You got to wind it back up.
Yeah. I live on the North Carolina. I don't know if you're, but
I was born in Asheboro.
In Asheboro?
Near Seagrove, like Seagrove, Asheboro, Winston-Salem.
Yeah. I know where you're at.
That's where I was born.
Asheboro is where the zoo's at.
Yep. My parents had a house 3 minutes from the zoo.
Oh, wow. I've took my kids there a lot.
Yep.
When they
thought I saw a question. I'm the Tiger Woods of buying and selling. A little less promiscuous.
There you go. Oh, here's one. Yvette's got a question for you.
Let's look for ephemera. Make friends with the 2 antique shops that are in your area, and just let them know that that's what you're looking for. Watch YouTube auctions. You'll see people sell that stuff. Go onto Facebook, get involved in Facebook ephemera groups. There's tons of people that have auctions on Facebook, and you can generally buy, like when I do an auction, I do tray lots full, Like, I
Yeah.
don't want to sell a $5 item. I want to sell $55 items, and I want to get $2 a piece instead of $5 because it's a bigger number at the end of my auction for me.
Yeah.
And I get to move more product out of the warehouse, and my workers don't strangle me.
Yeah. That's always a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that brings up a good point. I know, there are some newer resellers and other people. One of the things I've quickly learned is rather than list, a $5 item, list 3, 4, 5 $5 items. You can sell it a little cheaper than that, but you get
the bundle
average gross profit up.
Yep,
the
bundle.
And save yourself some time.
See, on my end, we sell a lot of. So in ephemera, I bought out, let's say, a newspaper. So we bought 100,000 press photos. So photos of Martin Luther King, Ronald Reagan, Greta Garbo, whatever had made stories in that newspaper, and then also all their local stuff.
Wow.
So I pay someone per piece, and I create a template. They list all of those photos. I don't know what's going to sell, so I'm just like, I'm not going to go through and cherry pick it. And I've sold more of the stuff that I wouldn't expect to sell, like local high school sports figures who might have made it to minor leagues or major leagues, or people buy photos of their family members. Something happened, accident happened, court cases, just kind of, it's weird, accident photos, everything. It's amazing what people will buy. So we just kind of list everything. And a lot of that stuff's only, we get $10. Maybe I paid 10 cents for the item and I paid somebody 50 cents to list it. So I'm in it for 60 cents. But a lot of it sits, and it's a slow seller. So if you can you see a ton of people in electronics because they sell quicker. So it just kind of depends on your business model and, how much time you're willing to wait and how big your business grows. So, but make friends and get the word out of it, and they will call you.
Right.
If you build it, they will come.
I was going to say that's probably like the thing that comes through the most. And like, whenever I hear you give advice is like just those connections. You've said it a couple of times now in this live stream.
Yep.
And you said it a bunch of times to me when we first met.
Yep.
So definitely building those connections are huge.
Yep. I still buy stuff at storage locker auctions, but I also hand out my business card to every other buyer who I'm competing with. What is my bucket list items? I don't have one. I don't collect anything. Everything I own is for sale, for the betterment of my kids, my wife, my family. And, there's nothing that I own that I wouldn't sell if it helps the business grow or my family in some way or another. But there's, I love having stuff, obviously. I've had, I had a video game collection at one point that took a 16-foot truck to move.
Jeez.
Like it was literally somewhere in the neighborhood of 10,000 Nintendo games, and probably 600 of those were sealed. And I had store displays and everything like that. And it was before I got into eBay real big.
Yeah.
But, I needed money to buy another deal or to move. I don't even remember what I needed the money for, buy a car or something like that. And I just sold it all. And now, maybe I sold it for 15 or 20 grand. I don't even remember. Now that collection's probably worth $250,000 or more.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, what did I do?
Yeah.
But, it is what it is.
Yeah, I always tell people they always ask me, do I collect anything? I was like, I collect it till it sells.
Pictures of dead presidents.
If it's something I want, then or want to hold on to, I just price it a little higher. That's all.
I actually have something. Let's see. Tracy, you're here, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to grab something, guys, that we found today in one of the boxes of clothing. I'm going to show it to you guys, see if you know anything about it, because I don't, and it blows me away. So I'm going to grab it. It's over here on the rack.
It's going to be wild.
So here's a dress. They're all like rhinestones. It's pretty.
Huh.
It's brand new.
Make them big, Eric?
It is by
hold on. I got it.
Sax John Dale. Sax. Oh, here. Sax Jandal. But look.
Oh,
Jeez.
For a dress. There's like 8 dresses in that box that are all really nice. But, you know, my Pam was really excited she found that today.
Yeah, imagine. You've asked another question about
No. Unfortunately, like when my daughter, who is 19, she has her own place, and she is only interested in horseback riding and horseback competition. So she's interested in horses, and that's what she does right now. She lives on a farm. She works at a nursing home, and she's wonderful. She's a great kid. My son recently moved in with me. He's 17. He's a senior in school. When they were little, I used to take them to flea markets, and they were really happy to watch Dad's booth because I gave them a little walkie-talkie, and everybody knew me at the flea market, so I wasn't worried about the kids like getting abducted and anything like that. You know, all the silliness that this world has nowadays. I wasn't worried about any of that. Like those kids could have ran down the road and they would have been fine. And but they love taking in money for Dad. So I used to price sticker everything, and people would just hand them the money. And I realized people don't ask the kids to negotiate; they just pay them.
right.
So I got to go out and shop, and I got full price for my items. It was great.
That's hilarious.
Today, here, Dad gives you $10. Like,
Yeah.
you know, we made $10 for watching Dad's stuff. It was great. Now my kids are like, no, my son gets 5%. If he comes in here for my live auctions, all he does is I give him a piece of paper, and he writes down who won it and how much it was and what the item is, and he gets 5% of my auction. So he's making about $25 to $30 an hour clear.
Oh yeah,
for sitting here for my auctions.
that's crazy.
Describing.
So he doesn't want to do anything other than, you know, he actually applied for a job at Foot Locker at the mall because he loves sneakers. But no, they don't have much of an interest. My adopted son, my wife's son, he loves military, anything military. So we get him like the big, you know, airplane bullets and stuff, pictures of tanks and stuff like that. He loves that stuff, you know. So I'll give him original like World War II patches and stuff like that. Super excited about it.
Yeah.
But other than that, they could care less. As long as Dad makes money and, you know, they get to buy video games and I play video games with them, you know.
I know. I appreciate you stepping away from Call of Duty for us tonight.
Well, you know, Tommy Bernard wasn't on, and last night he ignored my messages to play, and I saw him playing, so I got a little hurt. You know, he didn't want to play with me because I'm not good enough, but it's okay.
Dude, I know his friends are serious too, so.
I know it's Marcus. He's playing with Marcus. He dumped me with Marcus.
What do you guys plan on, PC?
No, I play on Xbox. Tommy plays on PC. So
I'm gonna come and harass you guys, and then like, I'm trying to emulate all you cool cats and be like a pro gamer too.
Look, I don't think I've ever looked at Twitch more than once. And my son's like, you don't watch Twitch? And I'm like, no. And now people are starting to do antiques and reselling on Twitch. Like,
yeah.
There's just too many different things and not enough time in a day.
I
know.
World War II, World War I. Yes, Harry. I bought, I probably have over at the other warehouse, I probably have 100 or 200 uniforms dating mostly World War II to Vietnam and Desert Storm. I have a flight suit over there and some other stuff. I've had amazing collections of patches. I had a letter with a hand-drawn battle map on the back of it from the Civil War. We've gotten all kinds of interesting stuff. I mean, it's just stuff at the end of the day, though.
Yeah.
I can't, you know, I see so much of it. Like, I love shopping, and it's an addiction. It is like the biggest treasure hunt ever. But as soon as I bought it and I've moved it 3 times, my interest in it goes like, wait, shiny object over there.
Right.
Yeah. Moving on. So Jeff has a question here.
Jeff had a question as well.
Not this year, Jeff. My lease on the building that I'm in here is not up until 2022. We're going to look at moving next summer, or at least buying a house down south. My wife and my adopted son will move down there. My son will be graduated by that point. He wants to move to Minnesota, be with his girlfriend, and go to technical school for engineering. So I'll be here until the lease is up, and after that, then I'll be down there with the family and stuff like that. I'd say yes and no. I love ephemera because everybody goes, hey, here's a box that's this big, that's this wide, with ads in it. There's 1,000 ads in there from the 1930s that sell for $10 to $20 an ad. It's a $20,000 box, right? You're like, paper doesn't weigh anything. It's a myth, people. It's a myth.
Mm-hmm.
When you buy paper, it has a lot of weight to it, especially when you buy it by the truckload.
Yeah.
You regret it after about the 20th box.
Yeah. Yeah, because you can fit a lot of paper in a box, right?
Oh, yeah. It is like carrying boxes of books all the time.
I bet.
But the stuff is beautiful, like stone lithography and stuff like that from the 1800s and early 1900s. It's art. It is beautiful the way that we used to make things. And it wasn't printed out on a computer and stolen images. It was somebody sat down and carved it out and put their own flair to it. And it was amazing. That's why I like paper. But if you look at my 150,000+ listings, probably 135,000 of them are paper related, concert posters or movie related or TV press photos. Ephemera is a big category, so find a part of it that you love. If you like a certain time period, focus on that time period. If you like posters, go with posters. If you like, trade cards from the 1890s and advertising, go that route. But don't be afraid to stretch yourself into other areas.
Yeah. I know for me, like I kind of get bored if I have just one thing. Like I have to move around, like get different stuff, like learn something new, like kind of stuff. Or honestly, whatever's going to turn the best profit. That's what I'm looking for.
And I never know because, I'm still a little old school. Like, obviously I watch YouTube and you watch all these people go into Target or Walmart and look at the clearance section and they're scanning everything. And
yeah.
Do I do that once in a while? Yes. And did I, when I started watching YouTube, man, my kids hated to go to Walmart with me because they're like, oh, we're going to be here an hour because I am scanning everything. And I'm buying my son's like, Dad, why are you buying bras? Like, I feel weird, like going up there and you're buying bras. And I'm like, dude, they're on sale and I can double my money.
Yeah.
But now I'm kind of like, there's so many people doing it.
Right.
That, the sports cards, the Panini basketball cards that everybody's been looking for.
Mm.
I have direct connections with the people who supply all of those things. Those people have learned that those cards have a secondary market. So when you go to Target, there's a little sign that says sports cards, blah, blah, blah. Due to recent demand, you can buy one pack.
Yeah.
But there's never any there. Like there's never. And I stop there every day on my way to work because it is literally, I could walk there in 10 minutes.
I have 0 sports cards in our Walmart and we haven't had any for like 2 months.
Dude, they should have put candy in the aisle. No.
Yeah, like it's just empty boxes.
Just like today.
That's it.
I was like, man, it's a way. Everybody's scooping them.
And man, I'm that guy. I'm talking to the manager. I'm like, hey, if you let me know when the cards come in, I'm buying it for a business, and
Yeah.
You know, I see you around. I know you go over to GameStop once in a while, and fellow gamer, you know, maybe I'll hook you up with a game over there. I know the manager, and I'm trying to get him to be like, hey, you know, cards come in Tuesday morning at 6 a.m. But nope. He's like, I don't know. It's an independent contractor. I'm like, ah.
Vet's got another question for you as well.
Item biggest sale. I sold a poster that was a Toulouse-Lautrec Le Griot poster at Posters International in New York City for $120,000.
Phew.
I had offered that poster out at Brimfield Antique Market for $1,000 to somebody, and they passed on it.
That was the best pass you've ever had in life, isn't it?
It was very exciting, to say the least.
Oh, man.
I still have a ton of stuff from that collection, too, that I bought, like Alphonse Mucha posters, and just, you know, I probably did $200,000 or $300,000 from that collection. I paid $75,000 for, and I don't even know where the boxes of books are from that collection. Like, I have first edition Mark Twain signed by Samuel Clemens. I don't even know where they're in the other warehouse somewhere.
Oh my goodness,
dude, that's a treasure hunt in itself. Like,
just what my wife is like. She's like, why do you want to go to the flea market on Sunday? She's like, take money, put it in one pocket, go to your warehouse and buy stuff from yourself, take it home and sell it, and you'll have so much more money. And I'm like, yeah, but I already own that stuff. Not any fun.
Hey, there's a that's almost like a Mr. Beast video right there.
Yeah.
Like, if you bring 5 guys in, say, hey, we're having a Mark Twain treasure hunt today, we're gonna shoot it. Like,
first person to find the Mark Twain book gets $200.
Yeah.
Don't break anything getting there.
Yeah. Make sure you put everything back.
Yeah. It took I had 14 storage units, so it took us 8 guys and 5 trucks and 2 days to put the stuff into the second warehouse, and I've been buying since then. So we buy loads and put it there.
Holy smokes.
Justin, no, actually, it is right there. It is right there.
Oh, wow.
Life-size Silver Surfer statue signed by Stan Lee.
What?
Yep. It is on eBay for $19,000. I did have a $10,000 offer on it 2 days ago or 3 days ago, and I counter offered the guy and said, look, if you come here and you pick it up, because for $19,000 I will self-deliver it anywhere in the lower 48 states. I will put it in a truck and drive it to you, because I don't want anything to happen to it. That's probably my most prized possession. But I told him, I was like, for $12,000, if you come and you pick it up, I'll sell it tomorrow and put that money towards something in my business.
Sure.
That was a pretty sweet thing to have in your death pile until then.
Yeah, it's awesome. He's my favorite superhero, so.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Until they make a Sam superhero.
Dude, but Stan Lee ain't around to sign it, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it might be Stanley instead of Stan Lee. Tracy asked why that Silver Surfer at an auction house.
Most auction houses, I mean, like, you could probably send it to Philip Weiss or somebody like that. They're gonna say, like, hey, you know, his signature's good. That statue generally sells for about $4,000 to $6,000, and you know, I've had 3 of that statue in my life. There's probably 500 or 600 of them out there. I've talked to thousands of comic book people, and I know of 3 that exist that Stan signed. Stan signed his arm for me at dinner one night, because a friend of mine was really good friends with Stan, and he used to do shows for him. He used to be a show promoter. So we actually went to dinner, and Stan's daughter sets up with my one friend and myself at San Diego Comic-Con. So Stan would come in the booth and hang out and talk to us, and super great guy.
Man, that's cool. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, that's not something you see every day. Chris said you could just send it to him.
I saw.
Cajun Reseller. Yeah. It's one of those things. Man, that is crazy. $150K on a item. God.
Yeah. Yeah, and you got to think they paid, so it was 125 plus. I think the juice on it was 15 or 20%. And the guy in the crowd, so it was a phone bid. The bid increment was, so it was 120,000. The bid increment was $10,000. Over 100,000 is how that auction house works. The guy in the crowd's asking for a half bid. He's like, half bid, and the auctioneer wouldn't take it. And I'm thinking, man, if you're getting 20% or 15%, and he's offering to go to 125, the other guy might go to 130. That's $10,000. You would have made yourself $2,000 in an extra 4 seconds, and I would have made an extra 10 grand. Nope. That auction house would have no part of it, because I'm sitting there in the crowd like, man, get rid of the reserve. I was like, just sell the thing. It doesn't need no $50,000 reserve. Just sell it for whatever it sells for. Nope.
So for you, what's kind of the threshold to take something to an auction house or keep it at eBay?
So we have local auctions all over the place. I guess in North Carolina you have Mebane and stuff like that. So there's probably 40 live auctions around here that I know most of the auctioneers. Mm-hmm. So I'll buy out a house and I'll pull what I think is worth eBay. All the furniture gets put to the side, and then I will bring a ton of other stuff that I just don't want to deal with, pottery, glass, all that type of stuff. And I'll just take it to that live auction and it'll sell for whatever. Major auction houses, I have a little distrust for some of them. I've sent stuff to Heritage. I've sent stuff to Robert Edwards. I've sent stuff to a few of the major auctions. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. I had photos in Swan Galleries not too long ago. But for the most part, I just try to sell the stuff. I don't do enough research because the next deal's coming along and it's coming too fast to wait 6 months for a paycheck.
Yeah. So, I mean, to a certain extent, even though you're on a lot bigger scale than most of us, there's a few models like people talk about either holding on and getting the top dollar, or price it to sell, and I know for myself, there's some items that, like I said before, that I think are really cool and I will price it a little bit up. I can set on it. There's other items like when I first make a big purchase, my first goal with that purchase is get back to break even. That's what I'm always thinking of. Hey, get back to break even. That way you got that capital you can reinvest right out the gate. And then everything else is gravy, right? Everything else is profit. And that's kind of my thought process where I've gotten to. But is that kind of how you're operating just on a lot bigger scale?
That is absolutely it for me. Right now we spent $12,000 plus moving and some labor cost in the clothing deal. So maybe I'm in it for $15,000. I might have gotten back $7,000 so far. Once I get to the $15,000 mark, the rest of it's whatever happens to it. I'm ready to buy the next deal. Right. And then there's times that we will buy. I think one of my videos, I bought a toy deal for $600, and I put it up as a wholesale lot. I didn't even pull it out of my truck. And I think I put it up for $1,200 and said, hey, look, I think it's $3,000 worth of stuff. I just want to see how fast it'll sell here on YouTube. And I literally sold it in 4 minutes or 5 minutes. And actually T, Auctions for You, had she sent me a text instead of making the comment of sold. And in the video, I was like, whoever says sold in the video comments gets it. And I had somebody say sold, and now that person is a regular buyer of mine, and he comes and buys stuff. T comes and buys stuff on a regular basis. And, I always hope that everybody makes money. It's just my goal is if I sell you something, I want you to double up after your fees at least. Mm-hmm. And everybody's like, why don't you just list it yourself? Well, because we have 3 million items. I have 5 people listing stuff. I'll be dead before we ever get that far. I could get hit by a bus tomorrow. So, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. But for me, I'm like, I just want to move merchandise and buy the next deal and see if I ever find anything that just really excites me. I grew up with Transformers and He-Man, and I'm sure if I ran across a collection that was like 10 of each Transformer, I probably would keep one of each. I've kept one of each of the rock and roll posters. We bought 50,000 rock and roll posters. Mm-hmm. I bought, I kept one of each and flattened them out for myself, and I have them in a separate location. But I'm still paying for that collection.
Yeah. Yeah, it's that is the thing. I mean, you have to, obviously you've got to recoup enough to make it make sense. But yep. If you're waiting for top dollar on everything, yeah, you better have deep pockets.
And what is top dollar? I mean, top dollar is what somebody's willing to pay that day, and it's like, if you don't comp stuff, so when we get in a big collection, I'm not going to pay somebody $15 an hour cash to look those items up. And obviously I don't have the time to do that. Right. So we could list something, the Route 66 sign is a good example. That day somebody stopped me and he goes like, "Hey, what do you want for the sign?" I'm like, I was taking it back to my car and I was like, "I don't know." And he's like, "Well, what'd you get it for?" And I said, "Oh, it was $20. And he's like, I'll give you $50. And I'm like, nah. I was like, I'd probably sell it for a couple hundred. I have no clue. And, if he'd offered me 100, I might have just taken it. But he was like, no. And so I put it on eBay at, I think I started it at $19.99. No reserve. Didn't spend, I did enough research to know that it was real and what year it was. But at that point, it was fine. I had offers that night for like $2,000, $3,000. I never end an auction early, no matter what the offer is. If it's up for auction, it's got one bid, it's going to the end. So if you want it, bid on it. I had somebody tell me the other day in an email, I give bad customer service because I won't end my auction and sell her an item. It's like, that's not fair to the other people who are watching and waiting to snipe that item. Yeah. And I had like 7 watchers. She's like, "I've been in retail for 14 years and what you're doing is poor customer service." And I was like, well, what I'm doing is following the rules that I was taught on eBay. Once I list an item, it's an auction. It has 7 days. If you want it, bid on it. Yeah. And at that point, after she sent me about the 3rd email telling me how horrible a person was, I blocked her. And then she sent me this message, said, "Fine, I guess I'll just have to buy it and leave you negative feedback." And I was like, okay. I was like, I'm fine with that. And then she messaged me. She's like, "It won't let me bid." And I was like, "Oh, did I forget to tell you I blocked you after your first email because I knew you'd be a problem?"
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Good move on that.
I like when they threaten to leave me negative feedback. I love that because then all you got to do is forward that right to eBay. Negative feedback disappears. Like, oh, perfect. Threaten me, please. Do so.
And you cannot solicit the person to comment. So if someone says, "I will leave you the correct review," based on the fact that you're not cooperating with me. Yeah. You cannot be like, "Wait, are you saying that if I don't do what you say, you're going to leave me negative feedback?" eBay will leave that feedback because you specifically coaxed that person into admitting exactly what they said. And then eBay will also sometimes side with the buyer because they're vague about the way they said it. And I'm like, well, how would you take this? Like, I'm sorry.
Usually I've had them leave it like straight up. Like I've had guys that message me about weird stuff. Like I sent out some hand lotion before, and so the guy sends it back, and the thing is empty, man. Like it's like he's opened it, used it, all kinds of stuff, and I was like, "Dude, I can't give you back full credit." And he said, "If you don't give me back full credit, I'm leaving you negative feedback." Gotcha.
I was like, okay. It's like, look, can you show eBay that when I sent it to you, it weighed 1 pound 3 ounces?
Yeah.
Send it back to me, it weighed 3 ounces.
Yeah.
Explain that.
It's crazy. Some of that stuff. So
hi, Emily. I see Emily Conway, so I had to say hi.
Yeah, Emily dropped in. There's quite a few people. Sometimes, man, I get caught up. Bob came in. Thanks for coming on. Jennifer dropped further back up that eBay Addicts is like 11 away from 1K. So, guys, if you're not in here, make sure you subscribe to him.
Yeah, check that out.
The show earlier today. And, there's several other people I know that have dropped in. Joe, I see you popped in. Philly Picker, thanks for coming on. Richard, Ford Pinto spelled backwards. I can't never say what that actually is, but Richard, we thank you for being here. And let's see who else. I know I've missed some other ones. Sam, I'm sure it said hey to you in the chat long before I ever saw you. But we do thank you guys for coming in. I did want to ask you more about the auction thing. So do you have certain items like where you're like, I know this has got to be worth something more, I'm going to put this on auction versus doing, selling it like buy it now? Like how do you figure that out?
That's a tough question because most days it just kind of depends on if I bought a big deal. We just bought that Snoopy load, so there's a video out. Like I bought a Snoopy deal the other day. Pam took the initiative. She started looking stuff up on Amazon, and she just started posting it. She's like, "Hey, do you want me to post it?" I'm like, "Sure, do whatever you want to do." And so she just started pricing it the way I would have her price it, and we listed it. And then yesterday, some of the bigger items, like there's a Snoopy teapot in the box, sells for like $85 to $100 on eBay. I threw it in my Facebook auction and it started at $5. It sold for $20. Now, luckily, that person buys and he actually comes here and picks up. But, there's $100 and $200 things that I'll start them in my auctions at $5 and just let them sell for whatever. I just, there's so much stuff that if I got $1 an item across the board, I could retire, have my fishing boat, have my house in the Bahamas, and just not care.
Yeah.
So, guys, if anybody here in the chat wants to make an offer, go up, pay $1 an item, feel free to do so. And Brian will just retire, go fishing.
Yep, but you got to take everything. We'll start counting. I won't even count the baseball cards. How's that?
Yeah.
Because there's probably 5 million cards or 3 to 5 million cards, so we won't count those. But you'll get those.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. Yeah, I know. Just thinking about like what you're saying numbers wise, it's hard to get your mind around. For some of us, like I'm sitting here, I'm working on a challenge to get 2K listed by the end of the month, and I'm like, I think I'm gonna actually crush that with all these boat parts I just got. But yeah, I'm looking at that going, wow, that's a lot. So how long have you
on Amazon?
Man, they're kind of dusty, so I've got to clean them up a little bit. But I'm only like 4 boxes into that thing right now, so I've not checked. I don't have a whole lot on Amazon, so I'm still gated on a lot of stuff.
You want to sell those? You let Mr. Buysalot know.
Yeah. Hey, man. I run into some stuff occasionally. I actually I go to Pennsylvania every year to take kids skiing, like Blakesley area, us Big Boulder. So
you're only
kind of
7.5 hours away, so drive down there, no problem.
Yeah. OBX, man. I'm surprised you ain't never been. You can't get away from the Outer Banks. Like, you ever been down this way?
I've been to Outer Banks. I go to Myrtle Beach. My family lives in Myrtle Beach now, so that's where we're looking at houses.
I got you.
Yeah, I've been to Outer Banks quite often, actually.
Yeah, I've run into some stuff, man. There's a lot of thrift stores here, but honestly, I probably hadn't bought anything in the thrift store in about a month almost, because I've found a better sourcing solutions. So I'm kind of doing like you. I'm bulk buying a little bit, so not on your scale, but definitely looking for bigger.
I'll bring a truck and bring cash, and we'll help you get there.
Yeah. Hey, if you can send me down about 2 or 3 listers, man, I'd be all set. Like, does that include listers for the week until we get I think that's everybody's struggle. I'm sure everybody in this chat right now said, if I had somebody to help me list, I'd be better off.
And it is great.
Yeah.
Is having someone to list for you. Like, a lot of people hate the packing and shipping part of the business. I have
Yeah.
to pack and ship. It's called my office manager. She's good at it. I still do it. Like if her dogs are going to the vet and she's just not here, or she needs to run out, I still pack and ship, or if she needs a day off, whatever. And I actually enjoyed it. It's not that bad. I don't like pulling the items for packing and shipping because we ship out 60, 70, 80 orders a day. And I feel unproductive if I get in at 8:30 in the morning and I'm pulling items and packing and shipping until 1:30 in the afternoon. I feel like I wasted half my day doing nothing to create money.
Right.
But, the listing part, I have some really neat stuff that I think I showed you guys earlier. Like, we got these with the Snoopy collection.
Mm-hmm.
And, Pam looked them up and she's like, hey, that Tasmanian Devil sells on eBay for $70. Could I list that tonight after we're done in 8 or 10 minutes? Yeah. Am I going to? No.
Yeah.
Look,
let's be honest about it.
Let's be honest. I've been here since 7:30 this morning. I am not going to list that tonight, and I'm going to go home and play video games. And, but this is fun. Like, I love being around like-minded people. And that's something like my workers aren't like-minded. My guy's here listing animation sales in the morning, and he's like, how many can I do? Because it determines how much money I make in a week. So this week he made $500 in cash was his pay. My wife's a manager of a hair salon, and she didn't make $500 this week.
Right.
So, it's funny because, when you break it down, he gets here at 9:30, or he gets here at 9 and he leaves at 2:00. So he's here for, what's that, 5 hours a day? And, he's making $400 to $600 a week in cash in 5 hours.
So you do pay your guys by the listing?
Yes. The new girl that I hired that's helping us do the clothing, the photography, she's paid by the hour because what she does doesn't create a revenue stream. But, if you saw, like, I bought this huge, like, photo booth thing that I had, and my office manager is a really good friend of mine as well. And she was making fun of me the day that it came. She's like, oh, here we go. There goes $200 to hire somebody to build that thing. And I was like, no. These poles are easy. I'll figure this out. I'll have this built in like 20 minutes. And she's like, not on your life. She's like, you are not handy. I had it built that night. No problem. That was actually really easy.
Yeah, it is. It's one of those things, like I always think about for me, like I'm at the point really I could use a lister. I mean, I don't need somebody all day, but just the volume of stuff I've been getting in lately is, I mean, you can only list so much in a day. Even like I did an 8-hour live stream where I listed 80 items and that was cranking and I was done. Like the next day I was cooked. Like, I mean, that's
a very, very good amount of listings. That's one item every 6 minutes. And that's photos and everything, right? Like,
yeah. I list off my phone. So I did stage the items. Like I stacked them up, and kind of had it sectioned off to where I was breaking it up, not doing the same thing over and over again. But I mean, like over $2,500, like one day, hammered it out. A lot of these guys witnessed it. It was on my YouTube channel. Some of these guys jumped in, but I was like, man. And then the other day I did like a 5-hour deal. I listed like 45, but just to kind of keep myself pushing to do more. But I was like, dude, I mean, I couldn't do that every day. Like I couldn't sit there for 5 hours and crank out 50, 60
it becomes very monotonous.
Yeah.
Like him, he's a robot. He's, I'll give that kid, he gets credit and he gets respect.
Yeah.
He's still young and he's got, some problems with authority.
Right.
But at the end of the day, it's just like, hey, look, I'm the guy who hands you your money at the end of Friday. So if you want to keep me handing you your money, you're going to do it my way. And then he's like, 4 or 5 days later, it's like, your way was faster. And I'm like, okay. But he listed 1,052 items this week.
Wow.
Gosh.
So in what's that, 25 hours?
Yeah.
So you're averaging 40 plus items an hour. Now I create a template. I give him the same type of product. I make the listings as easy as possible for him so that we can crush items. He said that if I prep and stage his stuff for him for next week, that he guarantees me for the same pay, so he'll get less per item, that so he earned 500 this week. So for 500 next week, he promises that if I stage his items and get them ready for him, not taking the pictures, not doing the listing, that he'll get 1,500 items up from here. I don't have to pay him for the week.
What?
Wow.
Man.
So guess what I'm doing tomorrow? Staging items.
Hey, that's not a bad gig though.
Dude, no
Or I'll
doubt.
pay my son to come in and stage items.
Hey,
$100. And
that's a win for you either way, man. That's that's a win all day long. Yeah, it's crazy. I've got my niece and nephew. Like my nephew's like 12, and my niece is like 9, and they actually know how to list, bro. Like I've taught them how. Like they can do it. So I bring them to the house.
Yard sales.
Yeah, I did one yard sale, but my niece came out for it. But like I said, I didn't. I just, it's not my deal. It takes so long to set up, tear down, do all that kind of stuff, move stuff around.
No, do you take them to like shop yard sales with you?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
My niece went with me to the 127 when we went out there for that. So
nice. Yeah, I guess you like taking your kid, and then they're sitting in the back seat while you're driving to the next one. They're like, guess what? I listed that action figure that I bought back at the yard. And you're like, wait, you're making money and I'm driving. You're paying gas.
That's funny.
Yeah, I tried to talk my nephew. He's super into Legos, right? So I can actually, dude, if I buy Legos or see Legos anywhere, he can look at pieces and tell you what they fit on. Without even seeing the thing. Like he's just like that way. Anything Star Wars related, he knows all about that stuff. So he's pretty sharp on that kind of stuff. But those guys, so what I've started doing, we go down Sundays for church with those guys, like down where they live. And so I've started taking a box down there every Sunday of stuff that I've kind of staged and say, hey guys, if you want to list it, just put it in draft. When I pick it back up, I'll, make sure everything's good to go. But yeah, I'll pay them a little bit to do that.
Yeah. But here's a Lego set for you, for your collection.
Yeah.
Those fires. Like if you can build the next generation, and then they can come and help and work, and then they see, my son sees that, we have a 6-figure plus business, with no question. But, for him, he's like, I'd rather work at, Texas Roadhouse or Foot Locker for $14 an hour, and then after tax, I'm getting $8.
Yeah.
Look, it's all about initiative and drive. Like for me, I'm up, I'm here. If you own a business, you work harder than any employee ever will.
Leaders eat last.
So
that's it.
And that was the thing that I was talking to you about when we were in person, it's like my pops owned a restaurant, dragged me in there to work with him, since I was a kid. I could probably handle anything. I mean, if you gave me a restaurant to run tomorrow, I could probably do everything. You train everybody to make it happen. Do I ever want to set foot in a restaurant and serve again? No. Sick of it. And most certainly, even when I started working, my parents, having that initiative to be
an
entrepreneur, you're just like, oh yeah, I want my son to be like that. And I'm like, nah. So I had to work for somebody for a while for me to be like, this sucks. For it to finally sink in, you know what? It's better if I don't work for somebody. What you and Pete brought up was just, the lifestyle, the happiness of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It is a treasure hunt. I just saw you say hi to Jeremy from What the Hells.
Yeah.
Again, he's another guy that you're out buying storage lockers and learning, somebody else's history, and some storage lockers are duds. Guys, if you're in this business, you will make mistakes. You will lose money.
Yeah, for sure.
And you should smile about it and realize you just got an education, and go buy the next unit and be ready to work, because it is, it is a grind. If you want to survive, it is exciting to live a treasure hunt lifestyle. And that's what my idea of reselling is.
Yeah.
Treasure hunt lifestyle. I mean,
it's a fun way.
When Sam flies out here, I'm going to put an inflatable cot in the other warehouse, and I'm going to bet Sam $100 that he can't just stay in the other warehouse for 12 hours without wanting to buy something.
Man, what a tease.
He's going to be in there looking for that Mark Twain, bro. That's what he's going to be in there doing.
I'll vlog the whole thing.
There's, like I said, there's probably, between both warehouses, I probably have 3 million items, not counting, cards. And it's stuff that's eBayable or whatnot, but how much stuff can one person do? Like, it's just, to me, I just want to sell stuff and buy the next deal and make enough of a living where I can enjoy going fishing or spending time with my family. Like, I don't want my kids to want for anything, but I'm not going to give them anything. Like, if you ask my kids, like, hey, does your dad buy you an Xbox? They'll be like, yeah, if I go to work for it.
There you go.
And I'm like, guess what? When you move out on your own, you're going to have to pay your own rent. I'm not going to send you money. My daughter, she runs on hard times. I'm like, hey, I have 1,500 feedback to leave this month. I'll pay you $100 to leave my feedback for me. Now she can do 50 at a time. So she can do it in a couple hours, but I know she needs $100. Okay, leave feedback for me for the month.
Yeah.
You have to earn it. You have to do something. That way you appreciate what you get in life.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, because like, even though your kids may not be into it, like my kids aren't into reselling either. Like they look at me and they're like, Dad, because they're older, they're in their 20s, man. They're looking at it. I was like, and what's funny is they're always like, if you see anything cool at the thrift store that you think I want, I was like, yeah, same thing. Like, okay, well, I need some listing done. Come on up here to the house and we'll work something out.
Never
that kind of thing. But they, yeah. I mean, that's the stuff is you got to look at. But the thing with reselling that I see is, man, the cost to entry is so low, man. Like you can get in here and start flipping items and you can create a business that can take care of you. I mean, to be honest, like if you're smart and you treat it like a business, right? Like, I mean, that's the key to it is if it's just a hobby, then you can wish all you want, but it ain't gonna never happen. But if you treat it like a business and you put the work in, you'll reap the reward for sure.
So I think the way that people look at things. So I think in one of the interviews I was doing, somebody said, I won't buy anything unless I can 10x my money. Then you will fail.
Yep.
You will fail every day of the week. Right. And you know why? Because I'm a guy that's going to be bidding against you or buying other units against you, and I'm happy to double my money. But you know what I want to do? I want to take $10 today, go buy something for $10, sell it for 20. And I want to go buy 2 items for $10, sell those for 20 each. I just turned 10 into 40 and I did it fast.
Yeah.
You do that for a year and you start out with, I think if you start out with $1,000 and you can flip it and double it every week for a year, you could pay cash for a house.
Right.
And it's not hard to do as long as you don't have false expectations. Realize it's work. You're sore. At the end of the day, I'm sore. I'm sure you guys are sore.
Right.
If Sam lived closer, he'd have a job just, fixing my back. But I love everything about the community that we have on YouTube now. When I was coming up in the business, it was my dad's great saying was, if you tell someone what you know, they're smarter than you. And I was like, why? And they're like, because they know what they know and they know what you know, so they know more than you.
Right.
So you didn't share information. There was you networked. Like, hey, I bought toys. My sister did jewelry. My dad did paintings and art. My mom did vintage textiles. We didn't compete against each other. We could go anywhere we wanted, and we all could just hit it and take everything. So it was great. But now, as I grew up at Renninger's Antique Market, and I had a booth when I was 15 for years. Tons of people were there. Now you walk in there and there's not a lot of people, and there's not a lot of young people. And now with YouTube, that's changing. We're getting a whole new influx of the next generation of buyers and sellers. So the business isn't going to go away. It's going to stay, and it's, it may change and adapt to clothing or to video games and not 1890s banks and really cool old handmade stuff. But that's the nature of things. People would rather have something they played with. Transformers for me.
Yeah.
People would rather have Transformers right now than 1920s, mechanical banks.
Yeah.
You can sell them a lot faster, and they bring crazy money. I mean, get sealed Transformers and get $5,000 for certain ones.
Yeah. Well, being a merchant is probably one of the oldest professions there is, right? You know what I mean? Like even in biblical texts, you hear about merchants and stuff. So
well, even the I think what's the oldest business is a female proposition, we'll say.
Yeah, sure.
Guess what? You know what they were? They were just resellers, but they didn't have any money in cost of goods.
Yeah.
For sure, man. So, and as you say, it's going to evolve, and it's especially with what's people, in and out of jobs and stuff like that, and you have like other folks like Gary V,
right?
Pushing, going to garage sales and reselling and kind of making it sexy.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't care.
It's definitely hard because influencers are, you have to watch your influencers, because obviously in anything that happens, there are fakes.
For sure.
And at the end of the day, my way of proof is, we have a warehouse, we have a business. I'm here Monday through Friday. Somebody doesn't believe this is what we do, agree to work for a day for free. Come on up, I'll teach you, and you'll see what we do. We'll have a good time, and I'll get free labor out of it. I've never made any qualms or any false pretense on YouTube or anything else. Like, this is a business for me. I'm in this to network, but I also want to teach, because in teaching, you are creating your own network. So if you know that you can trust me and that I'm smart enough to buy right, and I'm going to sell you something that you're going to double up on, and you go and you double up, what are you going to do? You're going to come to me, and I'm going to be your source. You're going to buy more from me when you can't find it, and I'm going to make money. I'm going to want you to make money, because the more you make, the more you'll spend, and that's the more I make. Yeah. And that's the way business should be.
Yeah.
It's not, and for you, Eric, it's Ford Pinto backwards.
Yeah.
Ford Pinto flips.
Yeah, Ford Pinto flips. That's what I was saying earlier. I said it's Ford Pinto, but I was like, I can't ever pronounce. Otnip drop. Is it what he has?
Dude, and on your point before, you imagine if reseller, like being a reseller, if it was one of those professions that offered like an apprenticeship.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because like I obviously, like, for us, the newbies, and I think this is probably why you see a generational gap, is because I don't want to learn all the history, and I don't have time. And for me, you talk about like how your family, you have 5 different people, 5 different experts, and I got to go to 5 different people. Mm. And that's tough. And who's to say all 5 won't even share their stuff with me, right? Or because there is always that sense of like keeping the secret to yourself, and you feel that on YouTube as well. Like I'm gonna just play this close to my chest until I sell it, or it's not relevant to me anymore, and I can share that bolo with you.
Retail arbitrage videos are that way.
Yeah.
But like everybody's like, oh, look, guys, I'm gonna show you this, but don't go buy it. Guess what? By the time that video comes out, he has bought every one of those items within a 30 square mile radius, and to say, hey, look, don't go buy this because I don't want to compete on eBay. Guess what? You know, I have 50,000 rock and roll posters sitting out there. I sell them on eBay from $15 to $300 a piece. I just put on Facebook the other day that I'd sell somebody 1,100 posters for $8,500. So that means I'm selling them for $7 a piece. Those people can go list a poster that I have on eBay for $300. They can go list it for $50 and sell it in a day, and it would be cheaper than I'm selling mine for. Do I care? No, because they have one. So when they sell one, I'm still the cheapest seller any other way. So you just have to choose, like, how greedy do you want to be? If you're going to make a video about something that's hot, understand that you are letting people make money off of your knowledge. And if you're okay with that, do it. And that's where you should be. Like, you know, that's why I said I don't have anything to hide, because if you guys want to move to Pennsylvania and go to the same flea markets and yard sales, I'll tell you where they're at. I'll tell you where the auctions are that I go to. And, you know, it's your knowledge versus my knowledge, and your bankroll versus my bankroll. And then it becomes my contacts. So, you know, people who have been dealing with me for 10 years aren't going to start dealing with you. And I'm okay with that. That's what I've built. And that's where business happens to turn into gold for everybody.
Yeah. And, you know, and so I guess that's the part of it, right? Like, what I don't get out of YouTube is the nuances of how to connect with people, how to develop that relationship, even just to have the personal skills or the mindset of, like, all right, if you want to compete with me, whatever, like, have fun. You know, I'm still going to play the game, whether or not you're here today or tomorrow. But, like, just some folks can't even get out of their own heads. It's like, you know, they're so focused on the other person versus, like, their own business that they get in their own way sometimes. So I just, like, even
can't take it personally.
Yeah, well, just like that kind of stuff, right? That attitude, or, man, how much stuff comes across your way, even though you don't comp everything. Just the data you're absorbing all the time, man, to just pass that down to somebody.
I want to learn about clothes, guys. Like, I found that, and Tommy has told me, clothes sell slow. Guess what? I got 105,000 press photos out there, and my sell-through rate is probably 0.25%. Or maybe 0.5%, where everybody's like, oh, you need to have 5% sell-through. Like, if I had 5% sell-through, I'd have to hire 5 people to do nothing but pack and ship every day. You know, I'm happy to break even and just keep growing my business, because then once my expenses get cut out, or building, or I own the building, or less workers, or whatever, eBay comes up with a better, you know, system, for a cheaper way for me to sell there, then I'm making more money, and it's a residual money that I keep making, and I've got to do something fun for years. I'm not working for someone else. You know, everybody's like, oh, job security. Guess what? You know, tomorrow your job could close, and there isn't such a thing. You get hit by a car tomorrow. So when you wake up today, make the best of today. Like, it is so hard to explain to resellers. Like, you know, my ex-wife preached to my kids for all the years that they lived with her. What dad does is not a real job. That's not a real job. It's not real work. I bring the kids here, and I'm like, okay, you're going to help me move stuff for a day. They're laying on the floor. They're like, oh my God, how do you do this?
Right.
Like, you know, you're old and fat and out of shape. How are you, like, moving 100-pound boxes? I'm like, because I have to. There's no excuse.
Well, it's funny how you frame it, though. You know what I mean? Like, because, like you said, oh, it doesn't have a real job, but, like, you create jobs, and, like, you know, the people that you're paying is doing better than, like, your wife, who's like a manager somewhere. You know, like, and it's like, okay, well, is it real or is it not real? Seem to be doing all right.
Yeah, it's fun. Like, it's just, you know, we make, let's say last year we made $350,000. My take home might have been $25,000. Could I go get a job selling cars and make more than 25 grand? Yep. Would it be fun? Nope. This is fun.
Yeah.
Hang out with each other and just joke around and find somebody else's past. It's so exciting.
Dude.
That's what Jeremy said. The biggest benefit is controlling your own schedule.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's really part of it.
But, you know, like, even with Jeremy, though, like, I know, like, he's got the mindset for, I'm going to commit 5 years to this thing. Like, I'm going to sweat it out, put my sweat equity into it, and then think about automating. Whereas, like, I think a lot of folks, they want to get in, and tomorrow, like, they're on the beach, you know, sipping on a Mai Tai. Like, right. It's like, you know, there's a lot of steps to get to that point.
Oh, it is.
To where Brian, you know, I mean, dude, and you had to, redo this twice? Is this second go around for you?
Yeah, so I sold everything I owned at one point in time for $1 an item, 70,000 items.
Did what? Yeah,
I did it, and to a local auctioneer. Like, and I had the original Coleco Dukes of Hazzard ride-on car that was a prototype.
Oh, gosh.
I turned down $5,000 for that car, and I sold it for $1 because I was so mad at eBay for this whole 5-star crap and all their changes. I was just so angry. I was like, okay, that's it. I'm done. So I had $70,000 to learn a lesson. And I was like, what's the next step from buying and selling toys and clothes and video games? It's real estate, right? Like, it's got to be real estate. I know some things in life. And one of those things is I suck at paperwork. I'm just not good at it. So when you start buying houses and flipping houses, it's fun to go in there, rip everything out. But it's not fun to worry about, you know, the general contractor ripping you off, how much that $4 tile turns out to be $8. You know, all of those little things start hitting you, and the pressure is so huge. Can you make a ton of money if you know what you're doing? Yes. Are you going to know what you're doing on your first flip? Nope. So I did a flip. I made money. You know, I might have made $15,000, but when I bought the flip, I thought I was going to make 45.
Yeah.
And then another antique kind of deal came along. I bought out a railroad station and got a bunch of paper goods, and you know, I got like 100,000 pieces of vintage railroad paper, and some of it's super cool. I still have a large amount of it, but I sold 2 or 3 boxes and it paid for the whole load, and I still have 60 or 70 or 80,000 pieces. And even if I got $1 a piece, I'd make crazy money. And it drew me back into the business, and that's when we created, you know, my wife and I, she used to joke around and she nicknamed me Mr. Buysalot because we'd go to the flea market and I'd fill the car. Like, it's not like I'm putting one box in the back of the car. I am filling the car. If I can see my wife on the drive home, I didn't do my job. Like, there should be a wall between us. And it's really funny. Like, it's just, you know, anybody who ever meets me or meets Pam, my office manager, she's been with me a long time. When my kids were real little, her and I went to Saylorsburg Flea Market, and I bought out 2 entire booths at the flea market. And my kids were sitting in the back of the car, had boxes piled on their laps up to where you could only see their head. And then I had long boxes going above them, and they couldn't see each other other than one little square hole.
Oh my goodness.
My son kept putting his hand through the hole trying to poke my daughter in the cheek, and she's screaming at him the whole way home. Pam had stuff on her lap all the way up to her eyes and couldn't see out the front window. I couldn't see out anything. Like, it was just, the truck was so full.
Oh my goodness.
I will never forget that, because when we got out of the car, my kids are like, I can't breathe. I can't breathe. How could you do this to us? It was like I was the worst parent in history.
That's funny. That is funny. Yeah, I'm laughing because I thought I heard my wife be like, yeah, out there, because she's in the living room watching this. And I was like, what's the other day? I was going to take her with me to this sale. And I was like, thank God I didn't take you. I couldn't even fit it all in. I had to go back the next day. Because I had it, like, it was in the seat beside me. It was all behind me. I couldn't see out any window other than the front one and right beside me on the left.
And at what point is the value good enough to ask your spouse to wait there for you to go home and unload the car? Like,
I'm like,
there is a point. Like,
this is an hour away. This is an hour away from my house. I'm like, I told the guy, it's a 3-day sale. He does a preview sale. So I was at the preview sale. And I was like, I want all that. And I said, you're going to have to tag the rest because I said, I ain't got no trailer or nothing with me. I just packed the van to the hilt.
Yeah. And it's fun. Like, you know, there's.
And I still don't know what's in there. Like, I mean, it could be more value.
That's it. That's what's, you know, I want to do this forever, even though I definitely get burned out at this level. It's a lot to imagine that, you know, our average monthly sales on eBay are $25,000 or $30,000 or $35,000. I don't even. It's $27,000 this month. But my overhead's 23, and that's before I buy anything. So, guys, we're not killing it. We're not rolling in the dough. I'm not driving a Mercedes. I buy a used car, and, you know, as long as it gets the job done, that's all that matters. But down the road, would I like to have a nice house and have a fishing boat? And, you know, I like to play cards. I like to play. I'm a Texas Hold'em player. I like to play poker of pretty much any sort. Because I like the gamble. I like the rush of throwing my money in, and it's my smarts versus your smarts. And if you beat me, I admit you're smarter. Like, that's what this is. It's a big game. It's exciting. Like, if you take life too serious, it becomes boring. And I don't want to have a boring life because it's only lasting so long, no matter what happens.
Yeah, for sure.
That's one of those things, man. I mean, ultimately, you look at what you're doing too, in the scale that you're on, like compared to what we're at. You know, I look at that stuff, and even at that though, there's a guy we follow on Instagram, like Sam knows who I'm talking about too. There's a card seller on Instagram that, dude, I've been to his store. Dude is doing he's got a $3 million 90 day. I'm like, but he's buying cards at 80% of whatever. I mean, but I'm like, dude, $3 million 90 day. He sells nothing but cards. I'm like, so it's out there. I mean, you can scale however you want to scale. You can do it, but obviously that dude's got a company. But,
yeah, I mean, so in that, like, if you're making a 20% margin on $3 million every 90 days, you're pocketing $600K.
Right.
So you're $200,000 a month business in profit. That's huge. I deal with people like Dave and Adams. So they're one of the top 3 card distributors in the United States. Mm-hmm. They're getting into comic books and stuff like that. You know, they had a point where employees stole like $4 million. It took them 4 years to realize that employees had stole $4 million.
Man.
Like,
that's crazy.
Man, what kind of problem is it to have?
Yeah.
To not realize that you lost $4 million. Like,
I mean, that's why Toys R Us tanked. Like, a lot of their security issues wasn't external. There was a lot of internal stealing that was happening. They couldn't keep a handle on it, so I can't imagine.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we bought out Sears, so you know, now I get phone calls for buying out other stores and other liquidations, and I haven't really bought any that I've been offered recently because I don't have anywhere to put it. Mm-hmm. There's no room in the warehouse, either of the warehouses, to the point where I actually rented 3 storage units recently because I have to have somewhere to go with it, and I'm not going to take it home because I promised my wife that I will not take work merchandise into the house and fill the house like I used to have. When I was single, it was fine. You could have the living room full of boxes and, you know, watch TV while you're doing stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Yeah,
Tommy's using big words like gross and net, and he's not talking about, like, you know, picking his nose right now. It's great. But he knows Mercedes is my favorite stripper name.
Well, Tim had a great point too there. I mean, Walmart makes billions, margins less than 1%, and they lose money on items. They do the loss leader stuff, but yeah, I mean, it just depends on where you want to be scale wise. Like,
Amazon's whole business model is to function at a loss. So,
well,
yeah.
So that's what divorce is too.
Loss.
to make a good thing out of loss.
Yeah,
Dude.
I can only say that because I was divorced once.
All I know is that Mr. Buysalot says he's not good for TV, and I already have a TV idea. It's like the Mr. Buysalot Cave of Wonders challenge. Like 4 people, 4 cots, 6 hours or 12 hours in the warehouse overnight. Try not to buy anything when you leave.
Or finding the best item. One or the other.
Oh, dude, can you imagine if you had one of those?
Make the most profit off of $100 item.
Shopping spree at Mr. Buysalot.
Yeah.
Just give him a cart, give him 60 seconds, and then tally up who's got the better, higher value cart at the end.
There you go.
It'd be bonkers.
It would be fun though. Like you just grab boxes.
Oh man.
And then you'd fill your car and you'd be like, man, am I missing something by not digging to the back?
Yeah.
Oh, I think that's how you have to do it first. You'd have to fill your car first and then go in and look for other stuff because other people would be too indecisive.
That's what I'm saying, man. You don't even need people setting up the set or anything. It's already there. There's so you have to
sign this waiver in case you die of a junkalanche.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If stuff falls,
everybody's got their GoPros on. They film it.
Yeah.
Makes for good TV.
That's for sure.
Oh, 3 people died in the first 2 seasons. How? Boxes of stuff fell on them.
I'm telling you, man, Mr. Beast challenge. I feel it.
Dude.
Well, we put out that 50,000 listings challenge. Like I created that a long time ago in February. I did that 50-50 challenge. We'll make 50 videos, or we'll list 50,000 items over 1 year, or I will pay somebody in my subscriber base $1,000. I will personally pay them $1,000 if I can't accomplish it. And everybody's like, that's insane. Nobody lists 50,000 items in a year. Dude, we're 6 months in, and I'm 2,000 items away from my number, and we've sold 14,000 items since then.
Jeez.
So
I can say your boy's listing 1,000 a week, man. I mean, your boy's listing 1,000 a week.
He's Yeah. And we have 3 other people who are posting, they're not doing 1,000, but maybe they're doing 300 or 400 each. So we're posting up 2,000 items a week.
Yeah.
But, my big concern was like, what happens if you start figuring it out? Like you got to cover all the solds too. So if you have a big week and you sell 100 items a day, you're like, crap, I got to list another 600 items.
Yeah.
I want to hit our challenge, and we're trying, man. We are trying. I think we'll have the 50 videos because I have been really good about it. I have 2 videos on my phone now that I haven't uploaded yet.
Mm-hmm.
From I don't know if I sent you the picture, Sam. I bought more clothes, and I don't know why.
I didn't see that.
I bought more clothing I bought more clothes 2 days ago, but before that I bought another full carload of stuff, and it's all like 70s and vintage clothes and stuff like that. And there's these brown paper bags that come from an Amish thrift store.
Oh,
and
wow.
they're marked colored t-shirts because the Amish can't wear colorful things, right? So these brown paper bags are marked $1 per paper bag, and there's like 10 to 20 t-shirts in a paper bag. And these were in this lot of clothes I bought. I paid $400. I'm sitting there ripping them open. 2 40-minute videos so far that I've made. I'm gonna make another one tomorrow, and then I gotta upload them. But I'm opening up the bags and I'm finding like M&M shirts, and I think there was a Godsmack shirt, and
what?
And I'm like, I don't know if this is a good shirt or not. And I'm like, I know it's single stitched, but I don't know which ones are good and which ones aren't. And then there's like all over print shirts, and I'm like, should I be throwing these in the trash because they're dirty? All these plain colored t-shirts that are single stitched. And I'm like, oh man, it's stained. And so I'm like throwing it in a box going like, this is the trash box. And then obviously I watch these videos on people who are like dyeing, or I don't even know what it is. They're like dunking the shirts and changing the color of them and like almost dyeing them and making them custom for vintage shirts. And they're making a killing. I'm like, wow, you can just leave the stain on it, just dip it in the paint, and away you go.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I threw two boxes in the dumpster. So there's a half a dumpster of clothes in front of my warehouse right now.
Dude, you could just like dumpster dive Mr. Buysalot's dumpster and do all right, probably.
There are single shoes out there from Gucci, other handmade Italian companies, because I couldn't find the pairs. Like I only found one shoe.
Yeah.
I just threw them in the dumpster. And somebody's like, no, don't do that. You could sell one single shoe. And I'm like, oh, no, nah, just throw it away.
Nah. Buy Gucci.
Oh, man.
You imagine throwing Gucci in the garbage? I ain't got time for that.
Like, most of my sellers have two legs. Most of my buyers have two legs.
Yeah.
You know, I guess it's possible there's a market out there for like one shoe.
Hey.
What do I know?
Yeah.
amputees do need shoes, as Marie says.
I've seen it. I'm holding on to. I've got a couple of single shoes. I'm just holding them on for display. Like
I kept two shoes because I thought they were neat.
Yeah.
But
that's what I got.
let me see. I'll be
I got
Yeah, your old school Converse.
my old Converse. I kept a single. That's got the Carolina colors on it there.
Carolina blue.
This is probably Phil Ford's shoe right here. Need to go get his signature. Oh man.
Okay, I went out to the dumpster because I know where it was at. It was on top.
That's sitting right on top of a freaking dumpster. Oh my God.
I'm looking it up right now.
It's got like a little metal like plate on the bottom.
Oh man.
So I didn't keep that one, but I kept this one just because I thought it was neat.
Oh, that is pretty slick. Oh, alligator print.
Like it's David Eden. I don't know anything about that, but it had cool like tassels, and on the bottom it's like handmade. So I was like, oh, this shoe's so cool. And this came in $100. I bought a truckload of clothes from the guy who has the electronics that I sent you the picture of.
Mm-hmm.
So I bought a truckload of clothes for $100, and we went through it. We threw a bunch away, and there's a whole bunch of shoes, and so I put pairs together, and we kept some, and anything that was singles we threw away. But it was that type of stuff.
I mean,
$100 for an entire truck full.
Yeah, I'm looking at some of those shoes, and they're like $700 shoes, man.
Yeah. That's what I was gonna say. Check this out. I don't know if you can see this.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Maybe I could put one on each foot. Like maybe.
Nah, these things are selling like single shoes, man. $349 Gucci
for a shoe.
Yeah.
For one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. Who wants to come up to my dumpster and help me look for shoes tomorrow?
Seriously.
Like,
oh my God.
There are so many heels and everything else that is just in there. Like there was a pair of shoes that had this awesome like wooden bottom on them, and it looked like burled maple. It was just like the art of the bottom of the shoe was just. I must have spent 10 minutes looking at that damn shoe, and I'm like, Pam's like, would you throw that thing away and quit wasting time? She's like, there's only one of them. And I'm like, yeah, but there's only one of these, but it's neat. I'd feel like James Brown with a pair of these.
Oh,
yeah, there's a one right now, men's Gucci loafer, $199 for a size 9 left only.
What?
I think that'll be a good YouTube challenge. Just drop the location of that dumpster and just let these YouTubers like make a video and race for it.
795 Robble Road, Allentown, Pennsylvania, guys.
Oh, if you missed it, there's a replay.
Dumpster diving. Hey, Philly Picker's close by. He's coming.
I know Philly Picker's like, I'll just swing on by.
Yeah.
There you go. It's right out there. I don't have time to go through it. We cleaned up. We probably got 100 pairs of shoes out of the $100. I sent Tommy a picture. If Tommy's still in here, and he sent me back a message, said looks like thousands of dollars in shoes. And it's like Cole Haan and there's a lot of Gregorio Buttini, I think is the name.
Uh-huh.
So
did you see this message from Jeremy?
Joe, that one shoe will get like all of the gas money.
I'm trying to think. So Jeremy wants Ghostbuster toys. You guys gonna give me 20 seconds? Give me a 1 minute challenge, guys. Can I
1 minute challenge
for Jeremy? What the hell's in 1 minute in my warehouse?
All right, we'll wrap for a minute. That's fine. I'm kind of like ecstatic what he's gonna show.
He's thinking like Jeremy's auction, a minute to win it.
Great auction. If you guys have not seen it, go ahead and check out What the Hales.
Minute to win it.
Minute to win it. Oh
man, he didn't give me a chance to get my timer up.
Oh man, and for sure, if you guys are having any issues, Q4 is on the way. People are preparing for it. I know of a dude with a warehouse. He's selling everything for $1. It's only just going to cost you $3 million.
Yeah,
but if you're hurting stuff, definitely call Mr. Buysalot.
No doubt.
Even if you guys haven't seen, a lot of Josh did a video with Mr. Buysalot where he went to his warehouse and just picked up a drum of remotes. And I don't know if like just YouTube went bonkers. Like for a week, I think everybody and their mother were looking for remotes to resell because of that one video.
Hey, look at that! 20 seconds to spare.
Yo, are you gonna show an ectoplasm gun?
He's still at a firehouse. That's the firehouse right there, man.
Oh,
this is not listed.
We're going solo here.
Woo.
Jeremy.
Oh. Might be worth a collab, guys.
I don't even remember when I bought this, but I happened to see it in the back of the file the other day. So this is the ghost containment unit that goes inside, and this has probably been sitting in the back of my warehouse for I don't know, 5 months, 6 months. But check these out.
Oh man, you got all the figures too.
What?
Jeez, and they look great.
Yeah, they're like really, really nice shape.
Yeah, seriously, man.
But there's like the Dracula and there's like the Wolfman in here, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, wow.
There's even Clayface from Batman in there.
Random toy.
Yeah.
But
and
that's awesome.
Then there's all the little ghosts.
Oh, wow.
But there's the Wolfman.
That sounds like an IG hookup right there.
Ow.
That's awesome.
That's well. That's crazy.
There's the sign for the front of the building, which is actually that's a really good piece. One of the rails. Peter Venkman.
Mm-hmm.
Dracula. A ghost grabber, I think is what that's called. I don't know what that is. It's some kind of a little like rubber ghost guy. I may or may not have some carded Ghostbusters too somewhere.
Huh.
Man.
So I think we have all 4 characters.
Yeah.
And then obviously the backpacks and stuff like that. And then I have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles somewhere, like a bunch of stuff from them. Like random play outfits and just random odd stuff.
That's fantastic.
That's incredible, man.
Dude, the fact that, I mean, it's just in really great shape too.
Yeah, it's one of those things like, and I've had them for a while, so, you know, do I know that they're valuable? Sure. Is it more fun to like let them just sit back there and then my workers yell at me all the time going, why can't you just sell everything? And I'm like, I don't know. I just haven't got around to it. Like normally this type of stuff goes into my Facebook auctions and it'll pull good money. I mean, it won't pull eBay prices, but you know, what do I care? If I don't have eBay fees, I'm not waiting a week. I'm flipping it. And
Sounds like you're gonna get a visit from Jeremy, man.
Jeremy's only 6 hours away. He could drive out here.
Yeah.
Jeremy would get lost in the warehouses.
We'd have a warehouse of his own.
It would be instead of it being what the hells, it would be where the hells. It's Jeremy.
Jeremy's question is probably, does yours have running water? Your warehouse.
My second warehouse doesn't have a bathroom.
Oh man.
Which is that's the only downfall to my second warehouse. The rent is super cheap. It is underground, so it stays cool in the winter, or cool in the summer and warm in the winter. So it's really great. And there's a bunch of rooms. I have like 1,200 paintings because I bought paintings from a guy that only bought listed artists. And I don't want to sell them individually because I don't know a $10,000 painting from a $20 painting. I paid $12 a piece for them across the board. So,
awesome.
Yeah. Jeremy did say that's his email address. If you send them to it, he'll drive out for the carded Ghostbusters.
Yeah, I'll see if I can find you. If I can find them, I don't know where they're at, but I definitely have some because I still have sealed Transformers and stuff like that at the other warehouse.
Hey, me and Sam only take a small percentage for listing on our show.
Sweet. We're gonna have the OBX picker auction.
Yeah.
The live Facebook auction. Actually, T from Auctions for You.
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna have a collab with her, and we're gonna do a live auction. She wants me to do it directly from the other warehouse, and we're literally just gonna grab boxes right from the front of the warehouse and start selling whatever's in them. I don't care. Whatever it brings. Doesn't matter to me. You know, all I know that's in there is a bunch of baseball cards, those books. I know there's a box of sterling silver, like flatware somewhere, and repoussé. And I know there's a bunch of like 1920s and 30s clothing and movie posters. There's obviously 70,000 movie posters over there.
Wow.
So there's a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But, you know.
What's the best way to get in contact with you for other folks who may be hurting for Q4 products? Want to swing by and see you?
Let's see. So if you guys want to reach me, obviously it's Mr. Buysalot 795 at gmail.com is my email. On eBay, my eBay ID is Mr. Buysalot. It's my company name. The only place that I'm not Mr. Buysalot is on Amazon, and then it's my real estate investing company was Sherlock Holmes, spelled Shorelock Holmes. But you guys are welcome to email. You know, I'm here, so yep, the dumpster's out there, Philly. You can come up. I'll open up the door, let you have some light. You can.
Did you get light, man? That's generous.
Look, there's waters in the refrigerator. There's Yukon Jack back here.
There you go.
There's a pizza in the refrigerator from earlier today.
Dude, you have to worry about getting arrested. It's great.
No, don't got to worry about getting arrested.
Old school
and obviously you're going to find single shoes that could be good.
There you go.
I cannot believe that you guys found like a single shoe is worth like real money. Like,
dude, you bet you. I started as soon as you showed them. Like, I'm gonna just comp in a second tab over here.
Now I feel like I should be out there like digging out my own shoes.
No, I'm sorry. I should have told you. But you know, pretend like it never happened. You know. But
yeah,
everybody else that saw that,
Joe appreciate it.
We have like, so out of that 450 boxes of clothing that we bought.
Mm-hmm.
And we got 400 of the boxes here. The other 50 I'm still owed. There must be 20 boxes of shoes that came, like, you know, I showed you guys that dress, you know, it has the original tag on it for $3,500. Like, there's shoes from those houses. There's
crazy,
you know, and then should I give you guys the big reveal?
Yeah.
Does the audience want the big reveal?
I mean, yeah. That's a big good way to close things out.
Hey, where he stepped away, I want to give a shout out to Shasha. She's been watching my channel religiously for about the past week and sending me messages. Man, I appreciate you so much for building some watch time for me. So thank you, Shasha, for coming in, and we appreciate you.
Here's the big reveal. Anybody who watched the video saw this, came out of one of the boxes. It is a Hermes Birkin bag. So this came out of some of the New York boxes. So had a good chance because obviously we found lots of Hermes jackets and scarves.
What the heck? Yeah.
Hold on.
What the?
Jeez.
Did you look it up yet, Eric?
No.
So we found this in one of the boxes.
Yeah.
I made a video, has this, like, here's the dust bag.
Yeah.
You know. Super excited. Obviously I spent 12 grand on that truck. And was super excited because I found this. And these bags, for everybody who knows, go anywhere from $8,000 to $180,000 a bag retail.
It's so bonkers. I'm looking at it right now. This is blowing my mind.
This one is actually really good quality. I took it to the Hermes store. They pretty much said, hey, look, we can't authenticate for you. We're not supposed to do that. Because I said to them, you know, obviously I knew they weren't supposed to. And I said, well, what about like me sending it in and get it reconditioned? She goes, well, I'll tell you, it could take up to 6 months for them to clean this bag and recondition this bag. It takes 9 months on a waiting list to buy one of these. And, you know, I mean, everything was right about this. I looked at every marking has the dash above the E. The way that the letters are, there's even date code stamped in the back of the leather.
Wow.
The leather's real nice and soft. I went down to Hermes. I wound up talking to a girl there. I can't say her name. Super nice. I explained what I do for a living and get to talking. We're really nice to each other. And she's like, look, she's like, it feels great. She's like, it is super high quality. She said, if I wasn't the assistant manager here, I would be happy to carry that bag. Mm-hmm. And she's like, but you don't want to send it in to get it clean because they may confiscate it. And that was her nice way of saying it's fake. My heart was broken. And the day got worse because I went to the Cheesecake Factory and I was so excited about getting chicken sliders and pancakes. And because we had a 70-minute wait at the mall, at King of Prussia Mall, they no longer serve pancakes, and the chicken sliders were not good. They had no seasoning. They forgot to put seasoning on them. And I was just like, even my son who had the chicken sliders the week before, and all week, all he did was taunt me with the fact that I didn't buy chicken sliders because he's telling me how great they were. Like I gave him half of one. He took a bite of half of it, and he's like, yeah, these are not as good as they were the other week. And he put it down. He didn't eat it. That's a 17-year-old boy did not eat the chicken sliders. I was so heartbroken that the bag went from being a, $9,000, $10,000 bag to being counterfeit, high quality counterfeit. Like there was one way she showed me that, the way she told me that wasn't real. She said all the fixtures are palladium. They are actually, the fixtures are all right. The keys are numbered. The lock is numbered. The lock is marked Hermes. And she said, she's like, there's two ways that she could tell when she touched it that she's like, you just don't want to send it in because they may keep it. And that was her nice way. And I do appreciate it. If she ever sees this, you know who you are. Thank you very much for showing me. We have a couple people that, don't mind it not being real. And I'll probably just give it to somebody or make it available to them. There is a company that sells counterfeits that they sell, like high-end counterfeits, for about $2,500, and we are about 95% sure that that's where this came from. So when you pay $2,500 for a counterfeit, you might as well just buy the real thing.
Seriously.
But you know, that was my heartbreaker. But today, finding the $3,500 dress made up for it, because there's 8 other dresses that were in that same box that are of that kind of quality.
Wow.
So they could turn out to be good.
Good luck, man. And like, you know, Michelle says, like, kudos to you for not flipping the table at Cheesecake Factory.
It was, you know, whenever I get something like that has that much potential, because like they make them out of ostrich and like different lizard skins that can be $150,000, $180,000, you know, house money. My automatic assumption always is I'm going to go in with the assumption that it's fake. And if it turns out to be real, I'm going to have a great drive home. I don't care how much traffic I get stopped in. If it's fake, then no harm, no foul. It came out of a box that I paid, you know, what, 400 boxes, 12, $30 for a box, you know, as a knockoff, even though I probably won't, you know, I'm obviously not going to list it online, just like the Gucci t-shirts that I have. And I have 2 Gucci t-shirts that are vintage, and I posted those on a Facebook group, and a bunch of people said, hey, they're 1980s counterfeits. And those same people emailed me and said, hey, look, would you sell them to us? They still have a really good secondary market. And I'm just like, I don't know. So I am not going to list anything that I know is counterfeit. I'm just not going to do it. I can't risk my reputation.
Yeah.
But, you know, there's other ways that they'll be given to friends or whatever and make somebody happy. But it was a heartbreaker. Like, I was going to do a video on it, because I did do the video of like finding it. And man, I went through the whole list of like what to look for to tell if they're real or not. And it was coming back. It had the date stamp, the serial code stamp in the inside of the leather on the tongs. And I'm like, oh, it's so good. I had the metal check that it was palladium, and it was. And I was like, oh, this is amazing. And wah, wah, wah.
Yeah, that's tough too.
Those counterfeiters took a lot of put a lot of love into it.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Well, I guess there's different levels of bootlegs. Like, so when you go to Chinatown, you're buying Louis Vuittons. You know, you can buy the cheap $40 Louis Vuitton, you can buy the $100 Louis Vuitton, or you can buy the $600 Louis Vuitton. It depends on how real you want it to look.
Well, Brian, man, we obviously appreciate you coming on. If you guys have any final questions for him, man, we've been on for a little over 2 hours, so I don't know what your day is looking like tomorrow. Are you shipping tomorrow because of the big long weekend, or are you?
Nope. We shipped twice today. So I gave all my employees off on Monday. I asked them, like, I was like, look, guys, it's a Monday. Do you want to come in and work, or do you want to have the holiday with your family?
There you go.
If you want to work, I'll be here. We'll work. And 3 out of 4 of them said they'd like to have the day off. I said, okay, we're closed.
There you go.
So that's it.
There you go. Well, man, I wish you guys have a happy holiday. And
sure.
Yeah, everybody have a great holiday.
Yeah. Jeremy, it was a great show, man. A great time having Mr. Buysalot in. Hopefully you guys reach out, get that Ghostbuster deal done. Yep. Looking forward to see the video.
Play face.
Play face.
One thing Jeremy's taught me is you record everything, bro.
That's right.
Everything. But man, we do, obviously, man. Hopefully at some point we'll get by to see you up there in Pennsylvania. That'd be a fun road trip.
Yeah.
Hey, we're here. You guys can, I'm here 5 days a week, and got stuff coming in all the time. I just got offered another big deal, so might be looking at buying another big deal. And I buy from a whole bunch of YouTube auctions, like everything. I'm in Jeremy's channel once in a while and send him super chats, so that I can see him smash stuff with the Hulk fist.
Yeah, there you go.
It's just what I do. It's for fun.
Well, we do appreciate all you guys. If you're not subscribed to Brian, make sure you go ahead and do that. I was slack today and did not get that in the description, but I will be adding it after we get off the show. And you can just find him, Mr. Buysalot. He's the only Mr. Buysalot there is. So we do thank him for being here. Sam, you got any final words? Things coming up?
Video coming out tomorrow. Brian, thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate you, and hopefully, anybody who has watched today, you got a lot out of Brian being here. If you haven't already, please subscribe to him. Check him out. He's got a lot of information, a lot of stuff. So,
and you guys are welcome to email me any questions. I'd be happy to help anybody in the business.
Okay.
I guess I'm probably the person to go to if you're looking to scale your business up. I can't tell you about everything because I don't know. But I can tell you in life, all that matters is the people around you and the people you converse with, and what you put out in, cosmic sense, you get back 1,000-fold, because you could get hit by a car tomorrow. So be happy with what you got today.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Work hard, guys.
Yeah.
That's it.
Thanks,
well,
brother.
Guys, I will close this thing out, man. I will say join us again next week. We'll have another guest on, and we'll be announcing that during the week this week. And keep in mind, if you want to be a part of the Reseller Roundtable Rapid Fire, please reach out to myself or Sam. We do that the last Friday night of every month, and I hope to be dropping a video myself probably tomorrow afternoon. So look out for that. I'll be showing you these crazy parts I got in the mini Mr. Buysalot haul that I had going on. So we do thank you guys for coming on. Y'all have a good night. Appreciate you hanging out with us.
See you, everybody.